Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome to Gaming on Board. A little while back, I did an unboxing for a Hotshots by Fireside Games, and I showed you what components came in the box. Now we're going to take a look at how the game works. I'm going to show you how to play, and we'll run through maybe 3 or 4 turns so you get an idea of how exactly a game will go. This is a tough little 1 to 4 player cooperative game, so let's go down to the table and learn how to play. Okay, so I've already done some of the setup for this game, and that is shuffle all these tiles. The whole board is modular rather. So you'll shuffle all these tiles up with the scorched side, so you can't see what they are. Then you'll flip them over and do a row of 5 up the middle, then 4 on either side of that, then 3 on either side of that, and that'll build your board. So it makes the gameplay different every time because there's different tiles that do different things, like the lake and this big propane or gas tank over here, and then also your starting area. So after you've done that, you'll take the wind marker and place it pointing what would be north on the fire camp tile. So this is like your base camp. All your supplies and things are there. So like I said, you'll put it facing north. So that means the wind's blowing that direction. Okay. After that, you will take your fire tokens and put them on all of the tiles that have these little orange or yellow dots. So you'll take the scorch limit, that's how many fires have to be on this tile before it scorches, and subtract 2. So for each tile that has this little dot on it, you'll take this number, subtract 2, and put that many fire tokens on it to start the game. 6 tiles will start with fires burning. So we'll put 3 on that 5 there. We'll put 2 on this 4. And we'll put 2 on this 4, and 3 on this 5, and 1 on that 3, and 1 on that 3. So those are the 6 starting tiles that are on fire. Then you'll shuffle up the 4 characters and deal them out randomly. In this game, we're playing a 2-player game, and we ended up with the spotter and the swamper. Each of them has an associated tile, you see right here, and an ability. If their tile ever burns, so for the spotter, it will be this one right here. You can even see it has a picture of that character on that tile. Okay? So if this tile ever scorched, the spotter would have to flip his card over and notice he no longer has his ability. His or her. But as long as that tile is not scorched, then the spotter has the ability to draw 2 fire cards, put 1 into play and put 1 back on the top. And you'll find out here shortly why that's so good. So here's the swamper's tile, and the swamper's ability is on your turn you can turn any rakes into shovels. I'm sure those aren't the correct terms, or vice versa. So he's going to be really good on tiles that require a lot of rakes or shovels. And you'll get the matching standee and place it on the fire camp. Everybody starts on the fire camp. After that, you will take the 3 vehicles. There's a big airplane, a helicopter, and it's like a fire brusher or something like that, but it's basically a truck that puts down fire breaks. And all those go on this tile that have those vehicles pictured on them. So you place those there. Those are one-time use effects. I'll get to those in a little bit. Next thing you're going to do is build the fire deck. So you have all these fire cards. And what you're going to do is you're going to go through the fire deck, find all the wind changes direction cards. There are 6 of them. Shuffle those up, just the wind change direction cards, and then separate them to 2 piles of 3. Okay, then you'll take the rest of the cards, shuffle them up, break the deck in half. Doesn't have to be perfect, but if you wanted to count the cards out, that's fine. You'll take 1/2, take 3 of those wind change direction cards, shuffle those into that half of the deck, give it a good shuffle. Try not to drop cards everywhere while you're doing it. So you shuffle those up real good, set that aside. Take the other half, do the same thing. Mix these 3 change direction cards in, give them a quick shuffle, then place it on top. So now you've got a complete deck with 3 change direction cards on the top half and 3 on the bottom. So now everything's set up and you're ready to play the game. You can choose, I'm sure there's some quirky, not quirky, but little thematic way to choose who goes first, but at this point you're ready to play the game. You'll also have your rewards tokens shuffled face down in a pile, your fire breaks in a pile, and all the remaining fire tokens in a pile. So to win this game, you have to completely remove all fire from the map. You have to get rid of all of it to win the game. So the way you get rid of fire is matching these symbols. Alright. So if you see this symbol right here, each of these tiles has, you know what, I'm just going to hold it up to the camera for you because we're not being able to get a very good image quality out of that. Alright, so let's just say I want to fight this one with 2 fires on it. First off, at the beginning, the first thing you do during your turn, and it says right here on your card, is move up to 2 tiles. So basically you get to move 2. Then you'll fight fire, and then you'll draw a fire card. Since this tile has this little symbol in it, it means it takes 2 movement just to move into it or to move out of it. So if I wanted to move here and fight these 2 flames, let's just say the Swamper's going first. That would be 2 movement for this specific tile. Okay, so there's my 2 movement. Now I want to fight the fire. So it's got 2 hoses, 2 shovels, and 2 rakes, which is good for the Swamper because remember he can turn rakes into shovels and shovels into rakes. So you'll take all the available dice, which is 6 starting out, and then you'll roll them. So you can see here we got, let's see, we got a hose and 2 shovels and a rake. So we got 2 shovels, rake, and a hose. That's 4. So we look at our little reference card here. If we get 4 matching dice, we get to remove 1 flame. Okay? Now, if we wanted, we could lock in only 1 of those and re-roll the dice and try to get a better match. But 4 is pretty good. So we lock these in. So that means that 1 of the hoses is locked in, both of the shovels are locked in, and 1 of the rakes is locked in. So if we re-roll these 2, 1 of them has to be either a hose or a rake, or we have failed to fight the fire, which would add another flame to it. So this is where you got to decide whether you want to push your luck. Now, if we had another person on this tile, say I was here and the spotter was already there, I could roll these and fail, and then he would give me support, so we wouldn't have to add another flame to it. And then I'd have to decide, do I want to roll again? But if I roll again and still don't get either a hose or a rake, then I have failed. So basically, for each person that's on your tile, that's 1 free failure. And the same goes for the lake. the lake counts as a support. So if I was right here fighting a fire and there was a guy here, another player here, I would have 2 free failures. After that second failure, I'd have to choose whether I want to push my luck. So anyways, I think we're going to stick with 4 because there's only 2 on there, right? So we matched 4 of the 6. He's not here. So we remove a flame, and that's the end of the fight fire phase. So then the next thing we do, it's all right here on your card, draw a fire card. So we draw the top card of the fire deck, and it says add 2 flames to a tile that's already burning and has a scorch limit of 5. So if there's more than one already burning with a scorch limit of 5, you get to choose. So we've got 2 right here, okay? So we get to choose. If there was none with a scorch limit of 5 that were already burning, this card would do nothing. We would just discard it. But unfortunately, we have to choose which one of these will get scorched, because they start the game with 3, and if we're adding 2, and that's 5. So one thing to remember, when a tile scorches, first off, whoever's character's tile it was loses their ability. So this would cause, I don't think this guy's in play. Oh no, wait, look, that's the Swamper. So if we scorch this, the Swamper loses his ability for the rest of the game. And it's pretty early for all that. So we'll just scorch this one. So we'll have to add 2 flames to it, which will reach its scorch limit. So we have to flip it over. And then whenever a tile scorches, you have to add 1 flame to the lowest scorch limit adjacent to it, to the tile with the lowest scorch limit adjacent to it. So unfortunately, this one's adjacent to it and has a scorch limit of 1. So we'd have to add 1 flame to this, which would cause it to scorch. Then the same thing happens. We have to add 1 flame to the tile with the lowest scorch limit. In this case, there's 3 3s, a 5, and the lake can never be on fire. So we don't have to worry about that. So we get to choose which one of these level 3 scorches gets a flame, and I'll say it's the one without any flames on it. So that was a pretty eventful fire card. It scorched this one, which caused the flame to spread here and scorch this. And that's the end of the first player's first turn. So that's the first player's first turn. We've already got 2 tiles scorched. It's pretty rough. Okay, so next is the spotter. And I think the spotter is going to go down here. So he gets up to 2 movement, so he's going to move 1 space over here to the vehicles. And let me tell you what these vehicles do. So this airplane here can put out 1 fire on 3 different tiles in a line. It can't be like a triangle. So here's some examples. So this would be 1, 2, 3. This is a line. But if there was one here, and by the way, scorched tiles can never catch fire. They're just done with. And they're also only 1 to move through. But anyways, so let's just say 1 was right here. You couldn't go like this. See, because that's a triangle. But you can go 1, 2, 3, or we could go in a straight line. 1, 2, 3, or 1, 2, 3. So you get the idea. The helicopter will put out 3 flames on a single tile anywhere on the map. So if we wanted, we could use the helicopter and put all 3 of these flames out. And then finally, this truck here will put out fire breaks in a line. So basically, you can start anywhere as long as it's in a line. So we could put a fire break here, here, and here. That's what that truck would do. And what these fire breaks do is if the wind blows and it's not a heavy gust, there's different types of wind. If it's not a heavy gust, it will block the fire from spreading into that tile if the wind's blowing this direction or that direction, depending on where the fire break is. And also, if this tile was to scorch and this was the lowest scorch limit tile next to it, the fire break would stop the fire from spreading to that tile. So the fire breaks will stop fires from spreading. So one more thing about vehicles is once you use the vehicle, you have to move your character piece to either the starting or the ending tile of where the vehicle went. So if we use the truck, I'd have to put him here or here or here, somewhere along the way. And if we use the airplane, I'd have to either put him here or here. So the starting or the ending. And with a helicopter, wherever you put the fire out, that's where you have to move your guy. So we're going to use the airplane to get rid of these fire breaks. And the reason I'm doing this is we've got some little ones going right here, and I think I'm going to do it like this, like boom, 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 and then I'm closer to this cluster over here. And also, it's important to note that some of these tiles, you cannot use the helicopter or the plane because there's power lines. So you can't use those two vehicles anywhere there's power lines. So I use this as a one-time use. It gets removed from the game. And I'll remove this, this, and this. And then I'll move my guy here on the tile where it ended. So that was his turn. He moved up to 2, which put him here. And instead of fighting the fire, he used one of the vehicles. That has to be done in place of fighting a fire. Also, you notice there's no fire here, so you might say, how would you fight a fire when there's no fire there? If you wanted to, you could roll the dice and try to get at least 3 matches, and you get to place a fire break. So if there's no fire there, you can try to go for this right here and just place a fire break for free. And as far as I can tell, unless I'm reading the instructions wrong, even if you fail, you don't have to place a fire there because there's no fire to begin with. But basically, you could just roll the dice and try to get a free fire break. But we didn't do that. We used one of the vehicles, so that was our turn. Now, at the end of our turn, normally we draw the top fire card and do whatever it says. Since we have the spotter, we get to draw 2, choose one, and then put the other one on top of the deck. So here's the top 2. So we would either add a flame to an already burning 4 and add a flame to an already burning 5. Okay, so we've got an already burning 4 here, an already burning 5 there. So basically, oh, and I forgot to put these back. So basically we'd add one here and add one there. Or the other card is wind changes direction. And what that means is you would pick up the wind direction thing and have it point to the corner of the fire camp that the arrow is pointing at. So now the wind's blowing that way, and also a light gust happens. So there's different winds, and in the rules it says whenever it changes direction, a light gust happens, which would cause fire to spread in the new direction. So this flame would spread to this tile because there's no fire burning there yet. If there was already a fire burning there, it would not add one to it. It only spreads to tiles that are not already burning. So basically, this one would spread here, this one would spread to here, and this one would spread to here. So we either let this happen now and try to figure out how to deal with it, or we just pile it on the already existing ones. And then this will happen on the next turn. So I guess we'll just go ahead and let it happen, right? It's inevitable. So this will spread here, this will spread here, and that'll spread there. And that's the end of the spotter's first turn. So luckily we've touched on almost everything that can happen. We've got a couple of scorched tiles. The wind has changed directions. Let's see here. So I just want to go over these dice results real quick. So we already saw 4, which is take away 1 flame. If you match 3, you can stop there and just place a fire break anywhere on the tile that you're on, any of the 6 sides of it. If you get 5, you get to remove 2 flames from the spot you're on, plus you get a token, or you get to place 1 fire break. So these tokens, you would grab one randomly, and they do all types of different things. Like this one can be used as an axe or a chainsaw. Dice result: on the successful firefight, remove 1 additional flame. Unlock a die. Unlocking dice is really good. So basically, for every person you have that is on a tile when it scorches, you have to take that many dice away from the available dice and lock them into the fire camp. And the only way you can get them back is by going to the fire camp and ending your turn there. Then the next person will be able to take those dice off and use them in future turns. So if both of us were right here when this scorches, we would lose 2 dice, and we'd only have 4 available to fight these fires. So the most we could do is remove 1 flame until somebody goes back there. But one of these tokens says you can unlock 1 die for free. And then this is basically a wild card. You can use it for anything. There's a bunch of different tokens. They're all different. There's no duplicates of any of the tokens. And then there's some pretty gnarly fire cards in here. This means the embers float around in the air and catch another tile on fire. So if we pick this up, the embers would have floated around and landed on here and added a flame to it if it wasn't already on fire. You've seen these. This means add 1 flame to the lowest scorch limit tile that's already on fire. And come on, where are the really bad ones? There we go. That's a strong wind combining. So basically, instead of just a regular wind where it adds fires to tiles that are not already burning, it also adds fires to tiles that are already burning. So if the wind blew right now with this card, it would add a flame here. This would spread to here, and this would not spread to here because it's scorched. This would spread to here, this would spread to here, and this would spread to here. So you're adding to places that already have fire. It's really rough. And then that's strong combining gust. And these actually jump over fire breaks. So even if you have fire breaks out, these will go through the fire breaks. And there's an easier version of the game where you can take these strong combining gusts out. It makes the game a little bit easier. But that's basically it. I mean, some of these tiles have some other things. Like this one, when it scorches, it adds 1 flame to 3 adjacent tiles instead of just the lowest. When this one scorches, since that gas tank's there, it explodes and adds 1 to all adjacent tiles instead of just the lowest. Let's see. If this tile ever scorches, you remove all reward tokens from the game. You get to keep the ones that you already have, but remove the rest from the game. And I believe that's it. I already showed you the one that takes 2 to walk through and the power lines. So yeah, there you go. That's how to play Hotshots by Fireside Games. Really fun, really tough solo or cooperative firefighting game. I highly recommend it. But anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video. Please leave any comments down below. Like and subscribe. Also check out gamingonboard.com. We have links there to our Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter accounts. And we do post daily. As always, thank you for watching and play all the games.